Howdy folks, and welcome back to another intermediate Blender class. Today we're going to be looking at how we can combine the UV maps from separate objects into a single UV map. Now I'm going to show you this right from the kind of very start, if you like. And just for the purpose of the demonstration, we'll be using just simple objects. So we'll use a cube that we've got here, and I'm also going to create a new mesh as well. We'll have a UV sphere, make it a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to apply the transformations to that. Now I'm also going to name my materials, so we'll have a red for the cube. We're using nodes, we're also using cycles, by the way, so let's make that red. Does help if I go on to my kind of preview. And we'll have a new material for the cube, and we'll call this blue cube. We don't want the material on the end, and we'll make this a nice blue colour. We will need to UV unwrap those. I'm just going to do something with the collection here, so I'm going to call this separate objects, and I'm going to put the cube, well actually it's already in there. I was going to say I'll put the cube in there, but it's already in there because there's only one default collection at the moment. So let's start another collection. I'm going to make a collection for the joined objects. When I join them together, there's nothing in that at the moment, of course, so, and I'll make another collection that I want to put outside. There we go. So joined objects, so this one will have for the camera and the lights. So let's stick the light in there, let's stick the camera in there. Don't really want to see those, we don't really need them. Separate objects, we've got our cube and sphere in there. And okay, what we can do now is we'll copy these. So I've highlighted them both. I can go to somewhere, I don't quite know. Let's just duplicate them. So duplicate objects. Whoops. So we've got cube 01 and sphere 01, and we'll move those into the joined objects. And now I'll join them together, so we can just do object join. That was easy, wasn't it? And we'll rename that. I'm just going to rename it to joined objects. And now what we need to do is we need to make some UV maps. I don't actually need those materials on the joined object at the moment, so in object mode we can just delete those. Don't know why that blue one didn't delete. Let's delete that as well. So they've got no material on them at the moment. So let's go back to our separate objects. Let's just hide those for now. Oh, and that's deleted our, oh dear, that's deleted our blue material. Never mind. We can make that again. So blue sphere, That was my mistake, of course. Let's stick that up there. Right, we're all good now. So now we need some UV maps. So I'm just going to widen the window a little bit. We'll go to the UV editor. So we'll make a UV map for this sphere first. So we're just going to say new. I'm going to call it sphere UV. Don't need alpha. Say OK. Into edit mode, and you can see we've already got it nicely unwrapped. I'm just going to scale that a little bit, so I'm just going to move the cursor into the center. I'm going to select all the vertices, and I'm just going to scale it down a little bit so it's not quite so close to the edge. So that's our sphere UV map done. Let's go back to our cube. So we want to create a new UV map for the cube. So we'll call this one cube. Did I use underscores? I don't know, I can't remember. Cube UV. And we'll say OK. And we'll unwrap that. That's probably already unwrapped, so go to edit mode. Yep, we can see it there, so A. And we'll just scale that down as well. In fact, that's fine. So now we've done that, we can bake these colours onto the UV maps. So in order to do that, we'll go into the shader editor, and as you can see, we've got our red texture selected here. Now all we need to do is add an image shader, sorry, an image texture, and we want to select our cube UV for that one. And now we'll go over to the material for our sphere. We're going to add texture, image texture. Oops, can't quite see that. And we're going to choose our sphere UV. Now we need to bake these. So we'll go back to the properties editor. Just make sure we're in cycles. We're not, we're in EV, so we need to go to cycles. I'm going to set it to use my GPU. So we need to go down to the bake section. We need to set it to diffuse, and we're only going to be baking colour. So we can bake now. I don't want so much for margin. I'll have a margin of maybe 2. There we go. So we can just do a bake on that. And we want to do the same thing for our cube. So we'll do a bake on that as well. Now it's told me it's baked those images, but it's not saved them anywhere, so I'm going to go to the file and say automatically pack them into the blend file. So they will be there. Let's go back to the shader editor. So shader editor, you can see that we've still got our material applied to the red cube, and if I just undo that, you can see there's no material on it. But now what we're going to do is we're going to hook in the cube UV map into that material, and then reconnect that to the output node. We need to do the same for the sphere, and as you can see, it doesn't look like anything's changed, but in fact now what you're seeing that these objects are using the UV map. that we've baked. And if we want to see that UV map, we can see we've got the cube UV, we've also got the sphere UV. Okay, so let's just pop back into the properties editor. Now what we want to do, I'm just going to turn off the separate objects, we don't really need to see those quite at the moment. And we're going to look at our joined objects. What we will need to do is we will need to give them a material. They haven't got a material at the moment, so we'll just say new on that, and I'm going to give that a different name. I'll say joined material, and that's good for that. So now we need to UV unwrap them. So I'm going to go to the UV editor, there we go, and we want to create a new texture, so click on the new texture button. We'll call this joined UV. That's fine, I'll say OK. We just want to unwrap these, and it's probably already been done, so if we go to edit mode, yep, you can see that we've got a nice kind of UV unwrap there. I'm just going to select all of those, scale them down, just so that I can fit them all on the UV map. I'm going to press L to select all the linked verts. I'm just going to move that up into that top corner there, and do the same with the cube UV map. So L, G to grab, and there we go. That's not a bad fit. So we'll go back to the shader editor. Now what we need to do is we need to stick in an image texture. So we'll add texture, image texture, and we need to set that to the joined UV. Let's unhide our separate objects. Let's go back to our properties window. Now what we need to do is we need to bake these two textures, UV maps, from the cube and the sphere onto the new joined objects UV. In order to do that, we can select the cube. I'm just going to use Control on the keyboard too, then select the sphere, and last we'll select the joined objects, and you can see that the joined objects are the active object because they're highlighted in a brighter orange colour. So let's go back to our bake option. We now want to use selected to active, and we're just going to say bake, and it's told us it's saved but it's not been packed yet. We can go back to the UV editor and we can just do a save on that, or we can do a pack. Let's do a pack. So you can see that that has baked the colours from the separate objects UVs onto this one combined UV map. All we need to do now is go into the shader editor, because we're still applying that white material, and just hook in the joined UV map into the principled shader, and there you have it. We can hide our separate objects, and there you can see we've got our baked UV map that's been combined into a single UV. So I hope you found that helpful, and do keep your eye on the channel, do subscribe, do like. I don't think you'll be able to comment because I tend to turn those off, but I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you'll find it helpful. So take care, thanks for watching, see you next time, bye for now.